In the charming town of Maryglen, where cobbled streets wind through cozy houses and laughter fills the air, lived a mischievous boy named Felix. But unlike the cheerful laughter of friends sharing a joke, Felix's laughter came from a different source: pranks. Felix loved pranks more than anything. He thought of himself as a genius trickster, always coming up with new ways to fool people. It didn't matter if his jokes made others angry, embarrassed, or even hurt, as long as he got a good laugh out of it, that was all that mattered. One morning, he stuffed the baker's flour sacks with feathers. When the baker mixed his dough, a cloud of white and fluffy plumes exploded into the air, leaving him sneezing and covered in feathers. Felix rolled on the ground laughing. Another day, he tied Madame Winfred's laundry to a kite. As the villagers went about their day, they looked up to see bloomers, socks, and petticoats floating above their heads like a parade of flying undergarments. Felix laughed so hard he nearly fell over. His worst prank yet? He sneaked into the local inn and poured hot chili powder into Farmer Gregor's stew. The moment the old man took a bite, his face turned red as a tomato, and he let out a fiery breath like a dragon. The villagers groaned and shook their heads. "Felix, when will you stop? Why do you always do this? You never think about how we feel." Felix only shrugged and smirked. "Oh, come on. It's just a joke. Lighten up." But that night, he decided he needed something bigger, something legendary. Felix had always heard the townspeople whisper about the old graveyard on the hill. People said it was haunted, that ghosts wandered the tombstones at night, but Felix wasn't afraid. In fact, he had a brilliant idea. Under the cover of night, Felix sneaked into the graveyard, carrying a bag of prank supplies, white sheets, ropes, and some glowing red lanterns. He set up a terrifying ghostly figure, making it look like it would float above the graves. When everything was ready, Felix hid behind a tombstone, waiting for someone to pass by. Before long, a group of villagers walked past. "Woo!" Felix whispered, tugging the ropes. The ghost rose into the air, glowing with an eerie red light. "Leave this place, or your soul will be mine." Felix howled, barely containing his laughter. The villagers screamed and ran. One poor man even fainted. Felix fell over laughing, his stomach hurting from how funny it all was. But suddenly, the wind changed. A deep chill filled the air. The laughter died in Felix's throat. A shadow moved behind him. "Who dares to disturb the dead?" a voice whispered. Felix turned slowly, and froze. A real ghost stood before him. Tall and shadowy, with glowing blue eyes and mist swirling around its form. Felix's mouth went dry. This wasn't part of his prank. The ghost tilted its head. "You love tricks, don't you, boy?" it asked. Felix gulped. "Well. I mean, I was just having some fun." The ghost smirked. "Then let's see how you like it." And with a flick of its misty fingers, Felix vanished. When Felix opened his eyes, he was no longer in the graveyard. Instead, he was in a world that looked like Maryglen, but twisted and strange. The sky was green, the houses floated upside down, and the villagers had weirdly shaped heads. Some were too big, some too small, and some were completely upside down. Felix tried to take a step, but slipped. His feet wobbled like jelly. "What's happening?" he cried. A villager walked past and pulled out a giant pie, throwing it straight at Felix's face. Splat! The whole village burst into laughter. "Oh, lighten up," one of them teased. "It's just a joke." Felix scowled. This wasn't funny. He tried to run, but every time he took a step, he'd either trip, slip, or fall into something ridiculous. A chair vanished just as he tried to sit. A rubber chicken landed on his head, making loud squeaky noises. His words came out backward when he tried to speak. "Plehm. Aesop. Help me. Please." Felix finally realized something. This is what his pranks felt like for everyone else. And he hated it. He fell to his knees. He shouted, I get it. Pranks aren't funny if they hurt people. Everything froze. A deep chuckle echoed through the sky. Well, looks like you've finally learned your lesson. With a snap of invisible fingers, Felix was back in the real world. Felix gasped, looking around. He was back in Maryglen. The graveyard was gone. The twisted world was gone. And he wasn't laughing anymore. For the first time, he saw the villagers not as targets for his pranks, but as real people with feelings. The next morning, Felix did something no one expected. He went to the baker and helped him bake bread instead of pranking him. He went to Madame Winfred and helped her hang her laundry instead of stealing it. He went to Farmer Gregor and helped him plant pumpkins instead of ruining his food. At first, the villagers were suspicious. Felix, are you feeling all right? But soon, they saw he had changed. He still loved jokes, but now, he made sure they were funny for everyone, not just himself. That evening, Felix put on a puppet show for the village kids. As the townspeople laughed with him, not at him, he grinned. No more mean pranks, he promised. Only the good kind. From that day on, Felix was still the funniest kid in town. But now, everyone was laughing together. And somewhere, hidden in the shadows, the ghostly figure smiled in approval before vanishing into the night.